What's up, Eagles fans? I'm Amy Campbell, taking you inside the Eagles locker room in this edition of Eagles 360 presented by Xfinity. Overcoming injuries continues to be a theme for the Eagles this year, and the mantra has been next man up. Well, not so for Nigel Bradham, who played through a broken thumb suffered against the Giants. He had surgery Monday, and he plans to play again next Monday against Washington. Talk about toughness. When you talk to Bradham, it's clear he hates being unavailable to his team.
Something inside, man, heart. I guess that's the only answer for it, really. I mean, it was definitely painful. But it was just something I had to get through. I'm just that type of guy. Like I want to be out there regardless. And that's just always been my thing. Always trying to be available.
One thing about Nigel is, and you guys have probably seen him here for the last 3 years, he's a pretty tough nut and pretty competitive. And he didn't want to come out of the ball game. He wanted to continue to play, even though I'm sure there was tremendous discomfort with that thing. But that's a big credit to him. You know, Jim addressed that this morning with our team. You know, guys like him and Michael Bennett, you know, had a foot issue. I don't know exactly what that was, but Mike went back into the game. I would say this: there's probably been players on other teams that could have said, well, you know what, I'll just sit this one out. I'm a little bit dinged up. But those guys went back in the ball game and battled, so certainly a credit to them.
Well, I mean, yeah, I broke my thumb in the London game, and so I had to get surgery after that. So unfortunately, Nigel, he obviously had an injury, and yeah, so now we're thumb brothers.
That's adorable, right? Well, it's the secondary that's been hit the hardest by injuries this season, and with all of the changes in the defensive backfield, coaches are so very thankful they have a guy like Malcolm Jenkins who can be the rock. He can play anywhere in the defensive backfield, no questions asked. A rare type of athlete and person.
The guy's amazing. I mean, obviously I've been fortunate to be around him for 4 years, and I would expect nothing less from him. So, I mean, from just playing safety to playing nickel. I mean, he almost played corner in that game, depending on what was going to go down there. And he wouldn't blink, I wouldn't blink. Nobody would blink. He'd go out there and play.
I mean, I'm a very solution-oriented person, so, you know, whatever that requires in the moment. I've luckily had a career where I've played all of these different positions. I know the defense, you know, like the back of my hand, so it's not a big deal to switch, you know, from spot to spot. Like I said, I know that going into pretty much every season that's my role, and so just like we need these practice squad guys to come up and play corner, my role is to be able to be versatile enough to have some flexibility for the defense so that we can, you know, endure. One thing that has never changed since I've been in the league is that you have injuries in the secondary.
When it comes to bouncing back, look no further than QB1 Carson Wentz. Wentz bounced back from his NFL worst performance against the Saints to leading a come-from-behind victory for the Eagles against the Giants. But let's step back and gain some perspective. Just a few months ago, Wentz was recovering from an ACL injury.
The thing about Carson is he's so great, so people don't ever give him the benefit of the doubt on things too. You know, like I said, I watched Marcus Mariota and Carr when they came off serious injuries. And they struggled with that next year, you know, and for some reason nobody's gonna give Carson that leeway. They expect him to be right back, and so to see him come off of something like that and still be so consistent and make people forget about the fact that he was even injured last year. I mean, this is an incredible thing that he's doing. Obviously, I look at him from the day-to-day as a leader. He's the same every day. He's always motivating guys. He always brings juice to practice, and he's a calming spirit in the huddle. So, like I said, I love playing with him. I know the rest of the guys do, and you always know at any point, like, it can just jump off. So you always got to be ready to go out there and make a play for him. So he's obviously fun to play with.
If anyone knows about recovering from an ACL tear, it's rookie running back Josh Adams, who suffered a torn ACL his junior year in high school. Adams' story continues to be incredible. The local kid from Warrington, Pennsylvania, who went undrafted out of Notre Dame, and now he's coming off a team-leading 22-carry performance for the Eagles.
It was rough, especially, you know, as a young kid who has dreams of, going and playing for the next level. That was in the middle of my, recruiting for colleges, but it was a blessing because it showed me who was true, who was real and who was fake. At the end, I only had a handful of offers left, so that made my decision a lot easier, and obviously God allowed me to choose the right place in Notre Dame, and it got me to where I am now. But it was definitely a learning experience, and I would say, the foundation of, where I'm at today. I mean, I feel like I got to prove myself every day. You can always get better. You can always do more and do better. And I'm not proving myself to other people. I'm proving myself for my sake and for God's sake and for my family. I'm trying to do better for them and for those people who I play for, not for anybody else around me, because, at the end of the day, I'm going to be left with myself. And those people who are behind me. So I can constantly try to drive and push myself to new limits and to do better.
You see him staying after doing little things like conditioning, working on routes, the quarterbacks, stuff like that. So he's dedicated, and it's one of the things you look for. All our running backs are that way. They go out there, they work hard after practice, no matter if it's conditioning or routes or extra stuff in general.
And for what's on the menu tomorrow, as always, our friends at Amoroso's have us covered. At 10:30 a.m., head coach Doug Peterson meets with the media, followed by quarterback Carson Wentz at 12:05, and we'll have both of those live streamed. And as always, later in the day, a full Eagles recap in Eagles 360 presented by Xfinity.